He died from drugs at the age of 34. And quand même, in spite of everything, I loved him. Throughout my marriage, throughout the rest of my life, my career kept on going. Nothing stopped or interfered with that. Because I was nothing if I was not an actress. Before food, before water, before even air itself, I needed to act. And I needed to get away. I needed to make vast amounts of money to cover my uncontrollable spending, which was the morphine of my life. Women everywhere understand that when the going gets tough, the tough go shopping. So my American impresario, Edward Jarrett, he was always ready with a pot of gold and a grand toy whenever I needed. And this time, he took me to South America. In Brazil, Theodoret was so spellbinding the church actually accused me of witchcraft, which worked like magic at the box office. At the opening night of Theodoret's first performance in Rio, the house erupted into this uncontrollable hysteria. Fans and gloves and hats, they just came raining down upon us as they demanded 100 curtain calls. And I was summoned to the imperial box, where Dom Pedro, the Emperor of Brazil, he gifted me with this glorious, exquisite brooch, which literally took my breath away, and I fainted on the spot. On a later South American tour, we would bring Tosca, Sarju's greatest creation for me, to the very same stage. When Tosca agrees to give herself to Count Scarpia in exchange for the life and freedom of her love Mario, you can sense the deadly intent which lies latent in the scene. She demands he sign the letter of safe passage in front of her, and as he signs the note with his last stroke, she plunges the dagger to the hilt into his back, and he staggers, he's clutching at her in this deathly rage until he finally dies. She rushes off to find her lover, and she's getting a bit hysterical. Mario, my love, soon to be far from this horrible place. Captain Spolletti's orders to take you out as if to execution, but the guns will be charged with powder on you must fall as he's shot. The soldiers will be sent away, the gates will be opened to us. Soon we shall be far from this horrible place. On the high seas they cannot harm us. Act your part well, and the first shot, fall down. So Spoletta, he leads her beloved Maria away. She waits outside the walls of the terrace. I hear them walking up down the terrace. They stopped. They stopped, you idiot. Merci. This is the moment. What are they waiting for? Delays might be fatal. I even got I know it is only a game. The thought that they are shooting at them. Get on with it, get on with it, let it be over. Good, it's over. So, she rushes into the courtyard. Mario lies, face down, his hands running to his side. It's me, Mario, don't move. There is a soldier passing. Wait, good, wait, he's gone, good. To your feet, Mario. Come on, Mario, don't you hear me? Blood. He's dead, my Mario's dead. Assassins, assassins, you were supposed to have stayed here. And then she hurls herself over the tower to a certain death below. And on that particular night, the mattress which was always placed into position was not there. And I came smashing down on a bare wooden stage, smashing my knee. I was in hideous pain, and I hobbled through the next few performances. But everyone in South America, they were so nice to me. The Argentinian government granted me 13,000 acres of land. Exactly where that abundance of acreage was, I never quite found out. But when news reached Peru, I arrived to find a carload of guanodong for fertilizing it, awaiting me as a gift. How thoughtful. It's nice to know what people really think of you. The Indian, Peruvian priests, they also honored me with this macabre treasure of an ancient necklace created by a secret process which looked like a string of pearls. It turned out to be a rope of petrified human eyes. I was delighted. Uruguay, they were not as accommodating. When I asked if they couldn't put on this little revolution for my entertainment, the government failed to comply. Which was about at that time when Edward Jarrett decided to drop dead of a heart attack in Montevideo. My trust and admiration for Edward Jarrett was inestimable. He was to me in business what my little lady, Madame Gerard, was to me in life. My rock and my foundation. I'm sure I seemed cold and aloof to my company as I dissolved inside, standing by his grave. And I trade up tears which come so convincingly to me on stage were never available to me in life. Reality was always too deep and bleak for tears. Over South America. I wanted to go home. I wanted to see my son and my friends and my close circle of artistic friends and associates. They were my little gods, as I called them. And my little pets. Like my adorable tiger, Minette. She grew up much too fast. I always have been, and I always would be an original personality and talent. I had to have things both on and off stage my own way. So in 1893, I was fed up with the management of others. I dissolved all my partnerships and agreements, and I leased the Theatre de la Renaissance as its sole producer and director. And I created my company productions with the splendor of an empress, and ran my company with a field marshal's efficiency. And I was blessed with drawing into the folds of my company some of France's greatest new talent of that era. One of my great leading men was the Max. He appeared as heroically virile Mark Antony on stage, but he was really a slinky little Cleopatra off. He was a notorious homosexual, and he would entertain this bevy of naked apostles in his own private Roman bath of rosewater, and he would hurl these gold coins from his Byzantine bronze bowl he kept at his side to signal the commencement of his Montebatch moments of personal bacchanal festivities. He was a total scamp. He would make me laugh constantly, pulling pranks like turning his back to the audience during one of my legendary death scenes, flashing me a smile of blackened teeth as the curtain would descend, send me gales of laughter. I noticed one thing about homosexuals. They tend to run in packs. And they tend to run around me. But one of my lifelong closest lady friends was the notorious lesbian Louise Martin. I mean, I was not inclined in that direction. But we were otherwise devoted to each other. To Max. And his little Maxes, they were much better female companions than most true women I know. And it is not true that I was jealous and petty of younger female talent. I tried to be a friend and mentor to Eleanor Doucet. Eleanor seemed to find it necessary to topple and replace. So I extended this invitation for her to perform in Paris. And to my surprise, she chose 3 of my standard repertoire. Oh, she was this gorgeous creature. She was making a sensation in the theatrical world for her poetic simplicity and naturalism. She decided to perform the role of Marguerite at the same time I was, with the obvious intent, her being 15 years younger and much more lovely to outshine me. And fortuitously, the critics found her a pale comparison, as she lacked the, let me quote, brilliant showmanship of my interpretation. and she received no acclaim. Oh, the poor child, she went into one of her epic states of despair, when she was much more of a drama queen off stage than she was on, and she went sulking back to Italy. Meanwhile, I moved into the Bernhardt Theatre, one of the most opulent theatrical houses in history. I was 55, looked 35, and signed a 25-year lease. To count a woman's age, or the number of her lovers, is the height of vulgarity. I have had only a few great loves. Terry, he was the handsome captain of my virginity. And George Hasselman, now there was a mover and a shaker. And he moved and he shook me more than once. We had the same color hair, we had the same color eyes, and the same taste in makeup. Although his was more excessive than mine. But don't let the mascara fool you on that man. And Lou Telegram. He was the last lord to occupy my heart and bed. He even played Essex to my Elizabeth in one of 8 films I made. He was tall, he was gloriously chiseled, and he was eager to please me in any way I wanted. And let me tell you, I wanted, even though I was 60-something, I still wanted. The minute my eyes landed on his, I wanted. But the only true and constant love throughout my life was my son, Maurice. Did I tell you my little prince married a real princess? My son. He was denied by his father and sadly ignored by me. He grew up to be a man full of elan and grace. Fiercely devoted to me in spite of everything. We spoiled each other with love and we drained each other of money. But I could not imagine my life without him. Acting was my life, but Maurice, he gave me my soul. But I've yet to mention my greatest love, aside from my son. It was in fact my shadow. I don't mean this in a narcissistic way. I mean it was such an everyday part of my life for over 40 years. Always there, always treasured. My little lady. Only death separated us. There has not been a day in my life where I have not needed a mate for her. It was to her where I vented my frustrations. I cried away my anger and sorrow and told my deepest secrets and deepest longings. She took me under her wing and she kept me there for the rest of her life. My little lady. The vestige of beauty and light, and she had an endless, inexhaustible supply of it. Until the day she died. A day unequaled in all the great sorrows that my life has ever known. She was my haven. And Belle-Île was my haven. Belle-Île was my own personal island paradise. It was what I shared with my family and closest friends every summer for the last 30 years of my life. Belle-Île, it had 2 conflicting faces, like far too many people that I know. On the Atlantic side are jagged cliffs, cleft by the hammer of God that crash straight down to the ocean below. And then once you pass through the inner east, you're greeted by this picturesque pastoral utopia of gentle valleys, rolling hills, with doll-like cottages. And tucked away on the promontory of my island Shangri-La, right where the winds converge to blow their mightiest blows, stood an old, fierce, medieval fortress. It was uninhabitable, inhospitable, and inaccessible. I simply had to have it. Yeah. It was my castle, and I was the queen of this 16th century fortress, whose main entrance was approached by a small drawbridge. It had the most massive fireplace that you had ever seen, and I populated the hall with overstuffed chairs and couches, and I scattered around some fan Persian descent. I covered the walls with this cornucopia of masks and primitive art and garish and glorious paintings. And the coup d'etat was to habilize it with pots and plants and vats of wood. I called it my sanatorium, inspired by the pastoral beauty of Berlin. I was bitten by the artistic bug once again, and I took up the hammer, and I attacked the stone to release a piece of art I could see and present inside. I reveled in the dust and the dirt, and the physical exertion to create a tactile, tangible piece of art which would endure beyond my life. Constant dream of all actors.